Max Hahn, better known as Dr. Max, has died. I'm Barry Butters.
And I'm Sandy Rees-Graff. A construction project nears completion in Cedar Rapids. Lee Dennis tells us if the heat and humidity will continue. And Pete Seifer takes you to the state bass tournament.
That and more are coming up on 2 Action News.
A complete look at the weekend's news, reported by Barry Butters and Sandy Rees-Graff. Weather with Lee Dennis and Pete Seifer Sports. This is 2 Action News.
Good evening. A man who helped a generation of Eastern Iowans grow up has died.
Max Hahn, better known as Dr. Max, died this morning. The cause of death has not been released.
And let's start the show out right now and get things rolling here and dedicate, let me see, to you.
For over 20 years, beginning in 1961, Dr. Max entertained area youngsters with an afternoon kids show on Channel 2. A staple of the show included cartoons from Max's Magic Board. But above all, the show's success stemmed from Max Hahn's communication with his audience, primarily pre-teenagers. He strived to talk to, not down, to young people. His sidekick, Fred Petrick, Mambo the Clown on the Dr. Max show, said the reason Hahn was good at the show was because he enjoyed what he was doing. He said he was saddened by his friend's death, but Petrick said Dr. Max's legacy will live on through the children who grew up with him and now have children of their own. Hahn, a native of Keokuk, had just turned 73 this month. Funeral services are pending.
New Jersey business.
A man a generation of Eastern Iowans grew up watching has died. I'm Barry Butters.
And I'm Sandy Rees-Graff. Iowa's Archbishop will soon be going to Rome. Area ambulance drivers hone their skills, and Lee Dennis forecasts a sunny Sunday.
And Pete Seifer tells you a third Hawkeye makes the U.S. wrestling team. Coming up on 2 Action News.
This is 2 Action News.
Good evening. Max Hahn, known to thousands of Eastern Iowans as Dr. Max, has died.
Hahn had been hospitalized, though he was recently released. He'd just turned 73 this month. The hospital has not released the cause of death.
Hi. Boy, I'm telling you, when you're packing and getting ready to take things away, it's worse than moving in someplace. You find things you... Here's one of the first Bugs Bunny.
That was the opening of the last Dr. Max show from September 1981. Max Hahn had done Dr. Max on Channel 2 for 20 years. His low-key style and his respect for children earned him their viewership. Hahn's friend and sidekick on the show, Fred Petrick, Mambo the Clown, said he was saddened to learn of Max's death. He says he and Hahn would hear often from young adults how they had grown up watching the show. He said Hahn had such a good rapport with children because he really cared about them. Funeral services for Max Hahn, Dr. Max, are pending.
Archbishop.
One of our friends was buried today. Max Hahn, better known as Dr. Max, was laid to rest at Cedar Memorial. Earlier at his funeral, Max was eulogized as a husband, father, grandpa, and friend to thousands of Eastern Iowa children. Max died last Saturday at the age of 73 from complications of diabetes and heart trouble. During the services, St. Luke's chaplain John Elliott recalled the strong and vital Max, who for years conducted a children's program here on Channel 2. Iowa traveler Carrie J. Hahn, not related to Max, recalls those days.
This is the main studio of Channel 2, where for 21 years at 4 o'clock on a weekday afternoon, you could tune in the world of Dr. Max. Dr. Max's world was populated with children, Mambo the Clown, pets, and good times. John Long, now noon anchor for 2 Action News, as a kid appeared on Dr. Max's show a half-dozen times because his dad was longtime custodian at Broadcast Park.
Well, I was one of the really lucky ones because I could brag to all my friends that I had actually seen Dr. Max and Mambo in person all the time. One of the big highlights of the entire year for most kids aged 4 to 14 was the fact that you could be on the Dr. Max show during the Christmas party, which was a special honor. And I also remember, to give you an idea of what an impression he was on children, when I was 6 or 7 years old, I can very clearly recollect taking a lot of butch wax and rubbing it on my hair and then greasing it back because Dr. Max had his hair greased back, and that was the neat thing to do.
In attendance at Max's funeral was his longtime friend, Fred Petrick.
I think Max and I had a wonderful relationship together, you know, theater-wise and friendship-wise. He was a wonderful fellow.
What will you remember most?
I suppose our 20 years of association on the Dr. Max show, because it was a very nice experience, a wonderful experience.
Fred says the secret of the show's success was that it belonged to the children.
Like I said, he was a friend.
And even though Dr. Max is now gone, the memories live on. And this Saturday evening, you can relive some of those memories at 6:30 on Channel 2 as we rebroadcast Dr. Max's 20th anniversary show.
Take it easy, play it safe, and be careful.
Even when people live a long and full life, there is a tendency for sadness upon the occasion of their death. Such it is with the death last weekend of Max Hahn. Max Hahn was a regular part of our lives for over 20 years here at Channel 2, as he brought us a daily menu of delightful comedy and subtle learning, both as a part of his program, The Dr. Max Show, and as a part of his everyday life. Over the years, Max truly became Dr. Max, and he was Dr. Max, whether he was on the air or off. Max was an instantly recognized celebrity in eastern Iowa. He patiently talked to children wherever he went because children sought him out wherever he was. Shopping in the grocery store or entering a movie theater, Dr. Max was seen by children as someone to touch, to tease, and most of all to love. Dr. Max brought the light of gentle learning and good humor to tens of thousands of young people. The glow of that light will endure for generations to come. As a tribute to Max Hahn, we invite you to join us on Saturday evening at 6:30 here on Channel 2 as we replay his 20th anniversary show, originally seen in 1981. Be our guests for Memories of Dr. Max this Saturday.